And hello there, everybody. Welcome to Wise Guys Discuss, where me, and in this particular case, my lovely co host, Eurostrix,
Yo, yo.
will discuss a specific topic, some news that have come up that we feel is very, very important to kind of give some information and some ideas, our opinions, kind of, you know, create sort of a template for some people to maybe follow who may not understand. It would help if I mute my phone too.
Yeah, I just
So
had to do the
totally
same thing.
unprofessional. It's funny because I was very scared that when we recorded this, I was going to be sitting here waiting for UPS to bring my Galaxy 8 phone, and I was gonna be extra unprofessional too, and be like, "Oh, hold on," and run to get to the door
No,
because I
you'd
was
be
not
fine.
that good.
If you know
But
how much shit I'd sit there and wait for.
yeah, so but it will only be slightly unprofessional. I've muted my phone now, so we're good to go. So, big news of the day, which the irony of this was so hilarious. As Euro tweeted me earlier about how we should have waited one more day to record the Mouse Clicks and Joysticks podcast because
We
we were
talked
discussing,
literally beforehand.
we literally were discussing Twitch and how they came up with the new subscription program for partners. And after the show, we sat here and we talked about the possibilities of things that they would do, including things like opening up bits to non-partners and things like that. You know, giving people who aren't partnered other ways of possibly making revenue, and doing things to improve their stream. Well, lo and behold, today Twitch announces their affiliate program. Now I'm gonna give you know swing over to Eurostrix to let him explain to you guys exactly what it is because he can word it better than I am.
All
So
right.
the
So
floor is yours.
to start off with, I want to talk about how Twitch currently works. Currently, there's the normal path of Twitch, which is everybody's a broadcaster. Once you reach a certain threshold, you can then apply for partnership. Partnership gets you a subscription button where people can subscribe $5 a month, and you get a portion of that. You get emotes from that. They have a monetization platform where people can buy games or gems from something like Smite, and you get a cut of that, or people can tip you with bits, which are a digital currency that you can swap out for real money and use on Twitch. So a lot of the monetization and a lot of the issue that has been seen from even non-partners is that making a transition, and even how they phrase it here for the affiliate program, making the transition from hobbyist to more of a business, or even trying to go full-time perspective. They present the idea of a lot of people that really are going serious at Twitch are working one, possibly two jobs maybe, and then the rest of their free time is just spent doing that. This helps with that. Maybe you can have only one job and still be able to do this, because what we'll be getting into. So what the affiliate program will be is, it's kind of like, and I like to call it, and have been calling it, the affiliate junior, the junior partner program. It's kind of like you are on your way to being a partner, but you're more than just a dude that randomly broadcasts whenever. You broadcast with a purpose, and you're trying to get to a certain place, because I think these are like bare minimum guidelines, that the guidelines, which I'll get into, even though I feel they're a little bit lax, they're still kind of difficult to get into, and we can kind of discuss that briefly, or however long you want to. So first and foremost, you don't have to sign up for this. Twitch will be inviting you manually. So it's the idea of, once you hit the level, you just have to go ahead and meet all the requirements. Twitch will bring you in. But what you have to do is at least 500 total minutes of streaming in a 30-day period. So that's a little under 6 hours. That's about 5 hours and 20, no, 4 hours and 80 minutes. I don't know how it is. Wait, 80 minutes, that'd be another hour. It's a little under 600 minutes is 10 hours. So it's a little under 10 hours. Excuse me. My mind and numbers are not working right now. At least 7 unique broadcast days. So 7 different days out of the week, or 7 different days out of a month, you have to broadcast on 7 different days, for a total of, again, less than 10 hours. So theoretically, across 7 broadcasts, that's a little over maybe an hour of broadcast, an hour and 10 minutes or so every single broadcast. And you will, or wait, no, an hour and not an hour. My math is off. I should not be trying to do math right now. Hour 30 minutes, whatever. You just have to get essentially a little over an hour, 2 hours per broadcast every over 7 days. Average, and this is probably the hardest one. Average 3 concurrent viewers or more over the last 30 days. And the last one is a very much a time thing. It's just at least 50 followers. The followers is probably the easiest of all of these. If you stream, even for kind of intermittently, you can kind of get followers as long as you stream for a period of time. Similarly, 7 days. Even if you did Saturdays and Sundays every day, that's 8 days. Maybe Saturdays and then 3 other days in the month. You can get 7 days, 500 minutes. It's 10 minutes or 10 hours. That's not too bad. It's the 3 concurrent that's difficult, because it's one thing to get people in your stream, but to make sure that you have an average of that over the course of a month can be difficult, especially when you're just starting out.
I find it's funny because when I saw the 3 concurrent, part of me was like, maybe it should be higher a little.
Oh, and so I kind of touched on that. I think that these are really relaxed requirements, because I know there's a lot of people that would argue that otherwise this wouldn't be for really like small streamers. This is definitely for small to medium-sized streamers, small streamers especially with the requirements. Overall, I would have liked to see a number even closer to like 7, maybe 7 to 10.
Yeah, I was thinking between 5 and 10.
Not to push people out, but to
yeah.
say like, if you are lucky enough to get a new game maybe a day early and they don't DMCA you, then you could really quickly and really easily get 3 concurrents over the course of like 7 days over the course of a month. You could do that without too many issues. You'll probably play a new game more than 10 hours in the first week if you have the time.
Yeah.
But beyond that, like I felt as though, I mean, on my first channel, maybe not, but if you are doing kind of, I don't even want to call it the bare minimum. If you're just playing games on Twitch, you can hit this with no real concern to me for actual growth or trying to promote any singular.
Now, I will say this, the counter to that, I think, and maybe this is their reasoning behind this, is they're trying to make it fair to people who may possibly like a game. Like, say you're big into League of Legends. There are tons of people who are very, very popular in that directory. And, you know, a lot of the tournaments and things like that are going to take the lion's share of viewership for that game for people who want to watch. And if you're a relatively unknown person, you may not be able to get that, because we see it all the time in certain popular directories where it's like the I guess the first to grow in that directory tend to maintain a heavy share of the viewership, while people who are just coming in, you know, for whatever reason, just because they like the game or whatever, they tend to stay buried in a directory.
Yeah.
And that may make it more difficult, even though they're very consistent with what they do.
Previously, when it came to getting a partnership, a lot of what it was talked about was being able to, as a broadcaster, get to maybe the, we'll say 50 to 75 mark of viewership, maybe even higher. But then it's about just being in the right place at the right time. Being the person that has a time slot for a game that blows up on Twitch, and you all of a sudden get the influx of viewers. I can't think of all the names off the top of my head, but there are so many people where it is essentially there will be a game that makes you, or a game that gets you partnership because of.
I think we touched on it the other day, or in one of the podcasts, the Destiny directory.
Destiny is such an interesting
perfect example.
Many people don't realize is Destiny, as hated as Destiny was, the vocal opposition to the game was met equally by a passionate community especially on Twitch, that if you were a part of and you really went from day one and were consistent and were just around, you could get that follow. There so many of the like people had already established viewer bases, but the biggest people blew up because of that game. I think this is my biggest things. I like the idea of this because it's To me, it's a very long stretch, and this is coming from somebody who is working towards. Well, I will and for be the first to admit, Twitch, being a Twitch partner and having it be a job is not a, I would say, viable career path. In terms of, you can't just say you want to do that and do it. There's a lot of different things that kind of you have to get right, and you have to get a little bit lucky to be able to do it. With that said, I think this is that intermediate step. I feel like when you make your channel, all right, the first thing you do is you make sure you get your stuff in order. Then it's like, now I got to become an affiliate. Once you become an affiliate, which I also, for those that don't know, Twitch has said that the criteria will change over time. I expect them to raise a little bit, because the amount of people that are going to be in that program is going to be ridiculous, especially with the stuff they're providing with it. I think that once you become that, then you can start to say, like, all right, am I just doing this because it's fun? Do I just want a little bit of pocket change from it? Or would you like to push it and see how far you can go? And I feel like there will be certain avenues, especially with the stuff coming out, that will help push that and help get people to where they are trying to go. Now, with all of that said, let's talk about what you actually get. And if you haven't, I'm assuming you're going to connect or link the page wherever you post.
Yes, we will put the blog link so you guys can see all the facts and things like that.
At the bottom of the blog is a great chart for anybody wondering how the different programs stack up with one another. And I will highlight a couple of things because I do feel like they're important, because people don't realize this and are going to get, I think, mad once this stuff starts to come out, because people just don't take the time to actually read. So sharing with bits, yes, you don't get custom cheer emotes, which are essentially animated emotes, but you do get bits. Funnily enough, Black, let's have a conversation about the fact yesterday when I was streaming, I had somebody that came into my chat and said, wait, why can't I use bits to, why can't I give you bits, or why can't I cheer at you? And I was explaining, well, I'm not a partnered streamer, and so I don't have that feature enabled, and this and that. And this idea of people a lot of times want to, especially because bits are, and 1 bit equals 1 cent for those wondering about a conversion. Bits are very much like something that people can buy in bulk and then spread out as they would like to. And it's just a really nice system, in my opinion, in a way of having things work. The next one, which for me is probably the biggest, even if I say cheering is really good, subscriptions. You will be able to get a sub button, but you will be limited to 1 sub icon, 1 sub emote. I have no problem with that, because the idea is just the idea that I can get a sub emote to begin with is great. Also, partners will be able to, because they've adjusted, partners as well will be able to go up to 50 emotes now, which is mind-boggling to think if you've been on Twitch for a while.
Yeah.
Next up, game sales. Twitch currently has a program where you are able to, like I said before, sell things. So I could buy a copy of Rainbow Six from Black, or Battlefield 1 from Black, and he'll get a cut of my game sale because I bought it through him. It's a way just to support people, as well as like even gems and coins and things from League of Legends, Paragon, any games like that, any free-to-play games that have some type of in-game currency. You can also make it off of that. And ads, I believe, like what it says on here is coming soon, which pretty much just means that you'll be able to make money off of ads. I want to clarify before people get too happy, if you're coming from YouTube, ads are garbage on Twitch. They do not make a whole lot of money, because it's less potential viewership, because it only applies when you're live, and therefore it's a lower CPM. It's a whole bunch of technical stuff that basically amounts to their advertisers feel like they're not going to get as much for their ad, and therefore they don't pay as much on the ad. Next up is the video tools. Now, this is something that's really interesting. If you were at Watch TwitchCon, they pushed out transcoding to a bunch more channels. In my history anyway, maybe it's from the frequency that I stream, I tend to get transcoding every time I stream now, even on my really low view count streams. But you'll get priority access as a Twitch affiliate. Full access will remain with Twitch partners. VOD storage will still be 14 days for non-partners. Partners get 60 days. And you will not be able to delay your stream through Twitch. For those that don't know, if you are not a partner, you have to delay your stream, I believe, through your software, so OBS or whatever. You can't do it through Twitch, which can be a little bit annoying, but it's nice to have. Now, what I feel like is the most interesting, Chargeback Protection is yes as an affiliate. Payout time is slightly longer at 60 days. They've already come out and clarified this. Why is it 60
Wait, just before we go just roll back a little bit and explain chargeback protection to people, because I don't think people understand how big this is.
So imagine somebody were to donate you $100. They can tell their credit card company or whoever, I didn't do this. That's not a good donation. I want my money back. And you normally, if you're not covered by chargeback protection, similarly, if you use PayPal, I'd recommend getting a business PayPal account because I believe PayPal has better coverage for it with a business PayPal account. You can kind of provide them and explain to them why the chargeback shouldn't happen, but you're forced to pay back the money plus a penalty. So if you spent any of that money, and there have been plenty of times where somebody, and it's kind of this thing now where it's the joke of, if you get a big donation on Twitch, don't spend it for a month, because that's the period of time that people have to wait before they can charge it back. Well, for the long, they can no longer charge.
Give a good example. I just got a tweet the other day from somebody. There's a Twitch partner who they're moving, and their chat has been donating money to help them with their move. Because people do stuff like that. He wasn't soliciting it. People were just like, "Oh, well, we want to help you out. We know you're moving from one state to the other side of the country. Here you go. Good luck." So some guy decided, I'm going to send him $500. Of course, he wasn't serious with the $500 because within a couple of days, he decided to pull it back. Now, why is this a big deal? Because when he pulls it back, it not only took the $500 from the guy, but it took, I believe, what did he say? Somewhere between $50 and $100. So it is a good percent of that.
And to give people what a big thing was, there used to be people that used to, and this is why I hate the use of this word, would troll really big streamers or troll a streamer by donating them $10,000, donating them such a sum of money that it will break a person, because a person will not believe like any of that.
Right.
And then pull that money back, and you get hit with such fees.
Yeah, you're hit with it seems like it's like between 20-25%.
You have to argue with a company that
think about that. Yeah.
Because you have to make the point of, because they're not even just hitting you with, you have to pay the money that you got, any of the like fees that the credit card company would be put on top of the fee. It's like when people bounce a check. What you don't know is if you bounce a check, regardless of the check, you're also charged. The person isn't charged. The person can't get the money, but you're also charged like an additional fee on top of whatever the bounce check was.
Exactly.
It's a punishment to kind of dissuade you from what they would consider doing false charges when somebody else is making false claims against you.
Exactly.
So that, including that too, affiliates, which is a really good thing. I haven't had to deal with it, but then again, with like I said, the nature of trolls nowadays, people will try to do anything to get a rise out of you. The payout time frame is 60 days. They've talked about this. They believe that a lot of people, and they recognize a lot of people are going to be pulled into this program. And so they're giving 60 days to kind of let the system with all the new people kind of work itself out and really get like monetization and money and payment and all that stuff dealt with. Now here's the one that's really interesting that wasn't talked about, Black. And I don't know if you peeped or caught this when you were reading. Mm-hmm. Covered by affiliates, the payout fees. Twitch covers them for partners, but affiliates have to cover them for themselves, which means Twitch is getting another cut of the revenue, because you're going to have to. It's a system that Twitch alerts and some other websites used to work on where, yes, we will handle all of the paperwork for you. You don't have to worry about taking in a donation here. We'll cover the donation. We'll move all the stuff. We'll pay. We'll ensure you don't have to deal with any of the technical side, but we'll take 2% of your entire month's earnings. They don't charge you if you only earn 5 cents, 10 cents. The moment you earn $1, they're taking 2 to 5 cents. And so that adds up, especially for a lot of people who are using it. For Twitch, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that for bits. I would assume they wouldn't do that for bits. I don't know necessarily, but however it works, they're taking a cut of it, and I think people are going to be mad once they realize that they do that, even though it's fully justified, because there's no reason for Twitch to cover that money. I just thought that was probably the most interesting one that I felt like people weren't paying attention to, but would in the future.
Yeah, so make sure you understand that they are taking a little extra off the top for.
And then the last few things were just to make a few distinctions to, once again, all of these things are coming, and for partners that don't know, you are getting better benefits because of this. All of your stuff is being bumped up with premium features, is what they're calling it. But still, affiliates have to go through the standard support queue, which can be fairly slow. Priority partner support, they get support first, plus they have members within Twitch. Everybody's designated somebody from the partnership team to contact if they really need answers on a much quicker basis. You get a verified chat badge, just so people know you're an actual partner and not just an affiliate. And you'll get something on your channel as well to say that you are a partner, just again to make a distinction and make it known. So this is going live very soon, and Twitch is going to pull people. You'll see it on your dashboard if you're eligible for it, to go ahead and pull you into the program. And it's moving from there. I even like the fact that it's not a sign-up system. It's something that's kind of automated towards a certain set of guidelines, because you don't have to worry about checking. You'll know when you hit that mark. You'll know when you've gotten to the point where you can go and you can be a part, or will be a part of the program.
Yeah, so that is the rundown. Now, the fun part of the conversation. Overall opinion of this whole system that they've introduced.
I love the system. I kind of tweeted about it, I think, this morning a little bit, very briefly, and have kind of been waiting to make a full statement once we kind of talked and wanted to do this. But this is a program that I think is super beneficial for the people, not even just the affiliate peoples. This is kind of like the idea of what was needed. I think a lot of people would always argue that monetization is a big thing, where with Twitch and with any of these programs, I always make a point. That's why my issue with the YouTube program, for those who know, I have a big issue with YouTube's monetization program. I don't think everybody should get monetization. I think introducing money that early leads to people trying to shortcut to make a lot of money versus necessarily working hard. But people will be learning as they come in. But this is a program will help somebody out. If somebody, it's back when I did YouTube far more heavily, when YouTube was able to pay a bill or two, it was really nice, and it was more time I could dedicate towards YouTube to grow on the platform. Similar to this. Now, when I stream as much as I do, so to give you an idea of how I compare to the requirements, 500 minutes a day for me or total minutes in a month is easy. I stream as of late. I've been streaming a day. I've been doing 5 hours, which is close to 500 minutes, maybe a little bit under. Every 2 days or so, I'm doing 10 hours worth of streaming. Every night I want to introduce a morning stream where I'm also streaming 3 to 5 hours as well. And so that this will help me do that, because if I can, in this case, living with my parents, say look, this is the blah, blah, blah that I'm making, and this is the amount of time I'm currently putting in. If I do this, and now with more avenues, and that's something that a lot of people don't know. A lot of this as well is not necessarily always having to go to outside avenues to maybe make a little bit of an extra. At least 7 days a week. Again, I've broadcasted for the last 225 days, 226 today. This kind of dated if you watch it, but whatever. 226 days. Again, it's a matter of 7 days out of a week. A week's time out of a month, you have 4 weeks, 28 to 31 days to get 7 out. The concurrence, for me, luckily, is really easy now because of consistency. If you're able to get super consistent, I will tell you, if you're able to be consistent over a 30-day period, generally speaking, as long as you're picking the right games, which is another topic altogether, the top 3 are actually really easy if you're super consistent. And the 50 followers is just a time barrier, basically. which is a lot of what Twitch has been doing as of late. When the name changes, you have to be on Twitch for 60 days. If you stream again, all that consistency stuff, they all build into each other. If you're super consistent on Twitch, which is really important, all of those things will come pretty easily. And I think even Black can speak to that. Of being consistent on Twitch, you see a difference really quickly.
Yeah, definitely. As someone who's been very absent, seriously absent from Twitch, which I've been harassed about getting back on. I'm actually probably will be getting back on soon because I want to do an IRL video, sort of, to kind of explain my absence to people. That way people will know what's been going on. But you know, I know, like, when you take these breaks, you kind of kill your momentum. People will go other places because it is considerably more like YouTube. I think Twitch, people's attention spans go a little.
There's no such thing as a jump cut on Twitch.
Yeah,
it's the easiest thing I can tell somebody. It's like,
yeah, it's like the people come to Twitch for that because they get to see a live person in the realest form on pretty much, for most people, a day-to-day basis. So you kind of become a part of someone's, not only just their daily routine, like watching the news or anything like that, but you also kind of make a bigger connection. It's like, hey, this is somebody who is kind of a part of my life because I get to hear about their day. If you are a good streamer, in my opinion, you're very interactive. So you hear from, you know, your community. Your community likes to come to your stream because they find other like-minded people who they can have conversations with and, you know, converse about their day-to-day things and their interests and stuff like that. Twitch is more of like where YouTube is more of, okay, let me turn on Netflix and binge watch a couple of episodes of this.
Yep.
Twitch is more of, all right, I'm off work. It's time to go to the bar. Let's go see what's going on with, you know, and you as the streamer are kind of like the bartender, and the community are the patrons, and you have your regular patrons.
Yep.
And all of that. And it's a much more, you know, friendlier, close-knit environment. So when you're gone, it's kind of like when a bar closes. Well, people have lost their spot for a while, so they got to find another spot to like become.
I've also seen is like, think about your favorite TV show. Most people can tell you what time it came on, all of that. And Twitch is very much the same thing. Is like, once you get into the habit of going someplace on Twitch, you'll know when you need to be there. You'll be there, and you're there for a while, and you'll generally just sit there and chill out and have fun. And even if you're not, you're also, even if I'm not on Twitch, I'm following enough people to where I'm 24 hours a day, there's something to watch. It has literally, it's literally the replacement for TV, except every channel is literally something that you choose to be notified when the show is on. And I like that bar comparison. Well, I might steal that. I might just steal that. That's a really good comparison. But I think this program overall, it's gonna help the landscape of Twitch. To give y'all a very broad idea. I still will argue to the day I die, the requirements are too low. I feel like my issue with it, I didn't want Twitch to give this, and I said this to Black yesterday, I didn't want Twitch to give it to everybody, because I think that I don't feel that that's like right. And to part of me would say, well, make people apply, but then you have to have people checking applications, which is whatever. And I feel like because they said they're going to adjust it, it'll eventually get to a good place. But 3 viewers is, and I just thought about how would that work for people that only broadcast from PlayStation or the consoles that don't really have the same setups in terms of like how their stream even turns on.
It still registers though on Twitch, because you've noticed when you go and you look at
they've done a good job of making them more known. But even still, like I'm saying, like what if somebody buys that something for you? You'll never know that you have a payout waiting unless you get. I mean, I guess when you get the email, you will.
Yeah, I think that's what you would have to. You have to monitor your email, and you still can set up Twitch alerts and things like that. it won't be as visual, of course. You won't get the visual screen, alert, but you still can set it up, and because it is a Twitch account, so you can hear it if you have a computer near you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like that. So yeah, you'll be able to notice and chart your growth because things like Twitch alerts and the thing that you introduced me to, Moxie. They kind of
Moxie. I love Moxie. Like it's so.
Yeah, like you have some analytics that you can chart things and see growth and see like you can in Twitch. They see those things too. They have people who will pay attention to those things and will be able to notice that, and they'll be able to get it. I mean, there's so many different tools. I mean, hell, as of now, you still can go on what's his name? Oh gosh, it's that old thing, Social Blade, and still pull that stuff and get a general consensus of what people do on a regular basis. So there are ways that they can chart it. So it's not going to be hard for them no matter where you stream from, whether it's on your Xbox or your PlayStation or through a capture device. So they can chart that stuff and you can chart it as well. I think, where it's going to be, it's like finding that sweet spot for that number is where they're going to have to come up with, because while I've seen streams that people consistently have 1 or 2, 3, if you're consistent, you can get that 3.
Oh, and that's something I guess I should touch on. Why I don't feel as bad about 3 is because literally the stages of Twitch streaming is you have nobody watching. You manage to get a few people in there, anywhere from like I'll say 1 to 5, and then it becomes just intermediate growth. You'll go from 5 to maybe 10, and then 10 to 20, and then 20 to 25 to maybe somewhere between that and 50, and then you're trying to get to 100, and now it seems like, and from recent panels, that's about partnership level now, which a lot of people I think also miss in this conversation. The requirements to become a partner on Twitch.tv have also dropped.
Yeah.
It is not as difficult to get a partnership on Twitch.tv now.
No, it still takes work, but it doesn't take the work, because I remember, way back in the day, I remember you had to have at least 1,000 viewers at one point, or if you had a YouTube channel, you had to average 10,000 views of video or something crazy.
The old rules that were there for the longest time that people complained about, they said you had to average between 300 to 500 people. You had to stream 3 days a week. You had to stream 3 days a week. You have to broadcast and that was the biggest thing. The biggest one, the important one, was like 200 to 500 people watching you will make it a job, regardless of what anybody says. That will make it a job. If even like you get a 20% return on, or a 10% return, that's 50 people subbing to you. That can be a solid supplemental income.
Yeah, that is
income, but a supplemental income. Really quickly, they changed it at TwitchCon last year. There was a panel. For those who don't know, I'm a big fan of panels as well, which we might get into when it comes to TwitchCon and convention season. I may hit you with some panels that I just think would be interesting topics to go off of. But Twitch has made a statement saying at the TwitchCon panel, partnership right now is about 100 or so over the course of a month-long period, and I think people need to hear that. If you can keep around 100 or close to 100 in a month-long period, Twitch will look at you. But their partnership guidelines have expanded to simply say an established and steadily growing audience and chat, a regular broadcast schedule of at least 3 times a week, and content that conforms to our rules, conduct, terms of service, and DMCA guidelines. Those are the current guidelines, which are really vague, which I think this is the first step to kind of clarifying those.
But in a way, I kind of like the vagueness. And that was part of my whole feeling on this whole thing, where they're making the affiliate program about invitation only, not like you hit the mark, you can apply. Where, group, that's what YouTube had. As long as you hit a certain mark, you can apply. Or with AdSense, you can just apply off the back, and it didn't matter. I like the fact that they get to choose who, because you can go in there and you can have all these consistent numbers. You can get 50 viewers every time and all of that, but they're still going to be checking for certain things that you do and how you present yourself and things like that. They're not, they're, to me, I feel like they're doing what YouTube should have did from the jump, and this way they wouldn't have alienated so many people and there wouldn't be so many hurt feelings. Apply the rules from the beginning.
And for those that don't know, people used to get mad because there used to be situations where people that had very small viewerships got sub buttons. And people always said it's more of a who you know situation, which in any job it's kind of like a recommendation.
And that can happen. Then that's going to happen in everything. I mean, I've seen some people who got sub buttons because they know certain people. That's life.
In a long time. It hasn't happened as much in a long time.
Yeah, it does. It's not. Yeah, it's not. It's huge, but that's life. I mean, shit. Wouldn't you put your friends on if you could? So, hey, that doesn't bother me really. It would bother me more like we were saying about YouTube. The whole, with YouTube, partnerships became kind of a joke, because I could even say, in my case, I got a YouTube partnership where I probably shouldn't have never got one. I just applied as a joke.
Yeah.
And they gave it to me, and I'm like, okay. And I wasn't doing, and I don't do enough in my mind to justify that. But that's how YouTube became, because it was all about that company getting that CPM, that ad revenue. And that's the thing with YouTube. You got ad revenue regardless, as long as you signed up for it. So it was like everybody was rushing to do YouTube, because if you could push your numbers higher and higher, you get more ad revenue. And YouTube was very laxed with what you can do content wise. As for all the strikes and things that people got for certain things, there's a lot of shit on YouTube that you should never ever be able to monetize and get ad revenue on. And there's a lot of like culture and a lot of different things that spawn from that. The whole drama culture, the whole exposed culture, and things like that. All of that stuff, that was the Wild Wild West. And now YouTube is trying to become a more streamlined, quote unquote, professional environment. And of course, people are raging. Twitch is trying to do it the opposite way. They're building a structure first.
So for those that don't know, all of this was probably already in the works back when the guidelines for the changes of attire that have to be worn, all the small little rules and rules of conduct in terms of service pieces changed, and how Twitch has slowly been, in my opinion, they want to make it easier for people to transition from something from a hobby into a possible career. And that's the difference. I think YouTube has never had the intention of your channel being your career. Even though they offer it, I don't think it's ever been an actual thing that they have ever worked towards.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't
content to creators, but never to actually be a full-on career where you can. There are reasons why you can do certain things. Twitch, on the other hand, seems to be moving towards that path. The affiliate program is to say, look, we see that you're working hard. Here's a chance to earn some revenue. If you continue to work hard, if you continue to grow, if you continue to be passionate, pursue, and go above and beyond, there is still a chance at partnership, which is the next step to possibly making this progression. It's like they're setting up something of a roadmap for, if you want this to be a possible career, then it's possible. It's far more possible, in my opinion, if we're on a Twitch side of things, especially because of the age of the platform, a bunch of other things in general. But especially with what Twitch is doing, Twitch is a platform, to me, not even of the viewers, but of the content creators on the platform. And that is what I've always appreciated about uh Twitch.
Yeah, I just feel like with YouTube, and I think a lot of people didn't really think about it. Seriously, like in hindsight, I don't think any of us did because we all just saw, wow, you can blow up and make money off of this. Well, that was a lot of people's attitude. Was this is a great way to blow up and make money. All I have to do, like especially when the gaming thing popped off, everybody was like, all I have to do is just play video games and
Because the
post
other
it.
thing is, people don't really remember what it was like. It used to be a big deal to get a YouTube partnership
Yeah,
because YouTube picked who they wanted. Like cherry picked, like you're the person that's coming to our program, and you get this, and you get this, and as it's something like that to where this now is. It's not a hey, anybody that comes in the door, here's this. It's a it's that it's basically a way of saying we notice that you're out here working hard.
yeah,
And that's the biggest thing that has made this such a great thing for me. It makes me feel as though the fact of the extra hours, they put a video on the page. But I guess the simplest thing to me, the simplest part is streaming. If you really want to grow on Twitch, the simplest part is sitting down and streaming for X amount of time. After that, there's reading analytics, there's checking emails, there's networking with social media, and just social media use in general. There's so many things that extend beyond the stream that, and it's something that briefly I've talked with my parents about of where there are, when I worked at GameStop this past holiday, the amount of stuff I had to do at GameStop was less for more money, obviously, because I'm not doing this as a job. But at the same time, once I left GameStop, I was done. Twitch is very different. Twitch is kind of like you can work as much as you want, and you see returns based off of that. Maybe if I'll do this, like whenever I get to a certain point, I will kind of pull as much of my analytics as I can to actually show people, and maybe we can talk through that of like what actual and go through like what the actual curve and what the actual timeline looks like of just my channel, which every story is unique. Some people, their first stream blows up. Maybe they're just in the right place in the right time. Other time, there's plenty of stories of people being denied for years from partnership until they get it.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a grind, but and I think this is the thing that I wanted to say the most as important because the reason I keep bringing up the YouTube thing is because I need people to understand that you should not treat this how you treated YouTube.
Exactly.
Again, when YouTube started to do ad monetization on anybody's videos and then started allowing affiliate programs to come in and do partnerships, so there'd be a three-way split between things. And so they had these recruiters out here coming at people. It's like, hey, you want to get a partnership? We'll give you some money, and they'll give you like a certain percentage and things like that. Even though your percentage was also after a certain percentage was taken from YouTube. Not saying that it was like they were partnering people very fast. They were giving people the means to make money, and they developed this environment where people would do anything to get to that point where they can make like tons of money. They put a lot of false hope in a lot of people's heads with that whole structure. And then they realized, we've created an environment that has gone nuts. We have too many people doing too many different things, too many people doing things that if we as a company want to grow and maximize our revenue, we got to start installing some rules. We got to start becoming a more focused company to decide where we want to go. That's why there's YouTube Red. They want to have more like of their own personal programming. They want to have, with these new rules, people doing more quote unquote professional content, stuff that they can take to advertisers, and advertisers can treat like they treat TV shows and things like that. They don't want your crazy drama filled stuff anymore. They don't want, I keeps it real type of things anymore because they want to maximize their money. And to them, that doesn't maximize money. It did before because, hey, who cares? All of you guys are just making videos and you're not caring that the fact that we're getting the larger cut anyway. Well, now is different times. People have different means of going and seeking ad revenue and doing things. YouTube's not just the only place to do that. And a lot of companies are like, you know what? We don't want to associate with this environment until you clean it up. YouTube's cleaning it up. Now everybody's pissy because you all flooded this thing and everybody was out there like, yo, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to get paid. I'm going to get paid. With Twitch, this is not going to be the same situation. Don't think just because they're letting people who are not partnered now be able to make revenue that this is their opening to that whole, okay, everybody jump on board and start streaming because you're going to make a ton of money. They've already told you you're not getting a high percentage of money from this. You know, they're giving you a couple of different benefits like the emote and things like that to make you stand out more and hopefully help you grow. But beyond that, it's not a setup for a huge payday. You're not setting yourself up for this run to that quote unquote silver button. More importantly, what they're doing that YouTube should have done all the time was they are keeping it to themselves. They're writing the rules. They're regulating everything. They're not going to outside sources and letting them come in and try to make money off of this too. It's a relationship between them and their streamers. That's how they want it. And I think that's how they're going to always keep it. It helps to the fact that they already are owned by a company like Amazon, which isn't going to let you run amok. So they're going to keep that in check. Don't think that it's ever going to get like, you know, the quote unquote good old days of YouTube. No, it's not happening. This isn't a safe bastion for all of you pissed off YouTubers to run to now to try to set up shop. So don't think that. Streaming is something that is much, much harder, in my opinion, than doing YouTube. I know a lot of people like to say, I got to do all this editing and all of this stuff. You know what? All the editing stuff makes your job easier because while it seems like a lot more work, bottom line is you can tailor your image to whatever you want. You can streamline things and make it look as presentable as possible to maximize your visibility. With streaming, yeah, you can get all the fancy cameras, you can get all the fancy devices, but it's all about you and your relationship with your community.
To any YouTuber out there that will talk about streaming being simpler, let's take it to an extreme because that's what generally people start to understand. Like the very simple idea would be like, imagine making a video, but you have to keep somebody entertained perpetually for like 6 hours or even a couple of hours at a time. That's not the culture of YouTube. The extreme is, shout out to my dude Mavatek. He streamed for 34, 35 hours straight, talking 99% of the time. Could you even think of doing a piece of content like that? To where you do an entire playthrough of possibly a game, and not even a small game. And you're able to maintain with no cuts. The most cuts you get maybe would be the equivalent of a bathroom break. Could you handle that? And that's why I think neither one is necessarily easier. They require very different skill sets to be good at. But I feel like it's generally written off as being a very easy thing to do, to stream games, where the amount of time I've had people like, and you'll see people that just be like, yeah, X was boring, and so I came over here, or all right, well, I got some stuff to do, I'll be back later, or there's this and that. And the thing is, when you have, like we were talking about before, 1 or 2 viewers, the difference between having no viewers, having 1 viewer, and having 5 viewers on Twitch in any directory is thousands of people, literal thousands of people of your placement. As long as, I mean, barring a game that nobody else is playing.
Yeah. And see, another thing is like with YouTube, again, the view count it goes up, it goes up, it goes up because anybody can click on that view. And so when you look at that view count and you're frustrated, you're like, oh, I need to make another channel because I'm not getting views. You can't really do that with Twitch. You can't pull that maneuver. Again, It's all about you and your relationship with your viewers. So if you
Expertise.
only have one person in that chat, you know what you need to do? You need to talk to that person.
Yep.
You need to build a relationship with that person. And that person will come back. And maybe that person will tell his friend, yo, this is a cool dude. And he's funny or he's entertaining. Or maybe he's there watching and he thinks you're really good at the game and is learning stuff from you. And he'll tell other people. And then they'll come in and then you speak with them. You build a relationship with them. Twitch is not, again, that simple because I can make a video, say what I feel, be real, all of this. And if you agree with it and hit like, that's fine. But me having to actually speak with you directly and create a vibe, that's something hard. And not a lot of people are good at making those connections. It's much easier to sit behind this microphone, like how right now we don't have cameras on. You don't see what I'm doing, how I look, whatever. I have a mask.
We were just talking about how hot it is right now.
Huh?
We were just talking about how hot it is before we went live, and just
yeah, exactly. You know, you have a mask. It's a sort of a mask. And YouTube is definitely a huge mask. But Twitch, even if you don't have a camera, you still have to project your personality, your aura, who you are, and people will vibe off of that. And if you're gonna be there and be pissy and not talk to nobody because you only got 1 or 2 people, you're never gonna get more than that ever. You may end up being with 0 all the time because you're not trying to engage. You're thinking, if I do this, like on YouTube, if I just do this, I can get people to watch. No, it's not. No, you have to work.
And I think the exponential kind of growth that you talked about is really important. On Twitch, you literally only grow if you're actively on the platform. YouTube, you can post a video and it will get views over time.
Yeah.
The sit it and forget it. It's what is that? A slow cooker. YouTube can be a slow cooker in a lot of senses. It may not always.
Yeah, no, I can tell you there's been a couple of videos that I've put out, didn't get anything initially. And like, a year or more later, all of a sudden, boom, why is this at the top of my goddamn analytics? I made this video back in 2014. Why everybody? Why? Because it hits it because of YouTube. Certain things, if it gets enough views, it starts to hit, whatever algorithms and things that YouTube have, and then they're gonna push in this group, in this pool where it'll be in suggestions and things like that. Twitch don't happen like that. Twitch now has a little bit more as far as suggestions. If you've noticed on the left panel, they'll show people who friends of yours have watched or people who you follow have watched and maybe, have similar content. But it's not like YouTube where YouTube would just string everything along with similarities. So your shit can be pulled up to the top inorganically. Twitch, no. You have to do the most work in pulling yourself up. It's all on you. It's totally you. It is how much you're dedicated to this. And if your only dedication is I'm going to get paid, you're fucked because that's not going to work that way. It's not that simple.
The difference between and that's another difference, I guess. I don't know if you hit on it specifically. On YouTube, you get paid. You get a penny or a quarter out of somebody's pocket, and they'll guess when they watch your video. Like it's kind of like they put it in a vending machine and see if they like what they get. On Twitch, you got to convince the person to take it out of their pocket and hand it directly to you.
Yeah.
Which is, imagine that dude sitting on the edge of the street just like, hey, can I get a $5 bill or $1? How much harder is it for you to do that than to use a vending machine? I'm just saying, think about that. Like different platforms require very different. I'm really happy about this. The affiliate program is also created, and surprisingly, I wanted to bring it up earlier on Twitter. The requirements have already become a kind of issue of contention because a lot of people are saying like anybody should be able to have it, and to some degree, I understand that. If you entertain anybody, you should be able to have it, and especially for people and that's where I believe like case by case basis should exist. Because maybe there is somebody that doesn't have the time, but still can fit certain criteria enough to give them bring them into the affiliate program, rather than necessarily like you find a guy that is, you can tell, is doing everything in his power to get into the affiliate program, even though, but he might not be able to stream 7 days a week, but he's hitting that 500 hours. Sometimes I feel like those conditions should be a little bit flexible. Like if you hit 500 minutes, which is about 8 hours, if you hit 8 hours of streaming in a month, but you don't necessarily hit 7 days, that shouldn't be an issue. Like, don't make it that rigid. Or if you have maybe you only stream 250 hours a month, but you get 10 people in chat. The only one I think that matters is like you have to have 50 followers, because I don't think that takes that's like the easiest requirement.
I mean, it could take a little bit, but
it's time gating essentially. Like it's one of those things that's just to say, like, look, you're not just gonna make a Twitch account and get all of this stuff. Because I think to some degree that also dissuades people from, maybe I have a bad image on my channel and I want a new channel with all this stuff that's happening. Let me just make a new channel and I'll get all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Twitch building, when you build up a community, because people can delete channels on YouTube and come back all the time. You destroy a community on Twitch, you're kind of dumb. If you want to build your thing back up, you need to do what you need to do to gain people's favor again. Again, it's all about you.
Twitch does not forget.
No, they don't.
I can tell you so many people that have essentially gone and been have left the platform because of like just bad decisions, a lack of care when it comes to a lack of care when it comes to like pushing ideas or pushing what they say. Well, fuck you then. Why should I fucking care? All right. Well, maybe you start saying that more often than you actually should be.
Yeah, no. And this is the reason why I wanted to do this video, because I wanted to express that point, and I wanted you guys to understand this, because I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be rubbing their hands like Birdman, and it's like, yeah, nah, son, it's not going to be that simple. You know, like really, really have. Yeah, I think with being a streamer, especially on Twitch, because even streaming on YouTube is different. Because again, after you stream on YouTube, you have that video that's already monetized. So YouTube makes streaming even easy. It's just like, I don't need a partnership because I can get AdSense over that too.
The audience for it is also extremely different because you're playing with a YouTube audience versus a pure live streaming focused audience.
Yeah. So, but you have to love doing it, I think, and that's the thing. You have to have passion. You have to have the mindset for it. You know, you have it. You can't just have that. Okay, let's get paid mentality. You can't just look at it.
That's something that I think I have talked to people about, but I want to stress it here one more time in case you don't understand what we're already saying. All right. Do not do this job because you want to make money. Do not do this because money is your focus. Because I will even tell you, you can work a general minimum wage 9 to 5, work less, and have far less stress when it comes to dealing with certain things than you would with trying to say, I'm going to make this work and this job and all these other things. Like, just trust me when I say, in general, you will work probably on average, if you really want to, quote unquote, do this, regardless of what job you have, you're going to have another 40 to plus hour, maybe 60 hour week.
Yeah, definitely. But for those of you who really love streaming, who have fun with it, or like it's a good step for you, because it encourages you to do something that you love more, knowing that you can work. Because a lot of people, honestly, I can tell you this, and I've heard this from a lot of people who I've watched over Twitch. The monetization part isn't going to necessarily be the drive. Like, I want that damn icon. I think when I come back to streaming regularly, my goal is that damn emote. Seriously, because I like the idea of having my own like identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I think emotes are the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah. Oh no, like I want people to understand. I subscribe to people for emotes. Like I see a cool emote in the chat, and I'll say like, "Yo, whose emote is that?" And you're like, let me go watch their streams. Let me go check them out. Maybe I might just subscribe for these emotes.
You know, and it's just things like that. It's like they're the badges now that they have, where you get that badge to show that you are a part of a community, or how now they tier it, the badges in colors, where they show how long you've supported and things like that. It's again, it's such a community based thing. It makes you feel like, yo, I'm a part of something.
Have I ever told you, Black, that my old Twitch account, for the longest time, I kept using because I made sure that I did not want to lose my loyalty badges. It was just, and it's something small. People be like, well, why should you care? I'm like, it says something to me to be able to look at it and be like, yeah, 2 years. So many people for 2 years. I've supported them, and it makes me feel good. It's not anything for necessarily the streamer, but for me to be able to be like, yeah, I've been around this long. And it makes me happy because you don't always remember just how long you've been with some people.
Yep. I'm not going to say names, but somebody just like, I know, and you know who this person is. They just went on a rant about, God damn it, I've been with this person for 2 years now. Like, I keep saying I'm going to unsub, but I just can't. And they, get the shout out from the person every time they watch it. It's like, wow, really? I've been here this long. But it's like, you kind of forget because you don't mind paying that money, especially if it's somebody that you appreciate their stream.
Yeah.
And you like the idea of knowing that you giving support to somebody who's doing something that they love. Exactly. And who's genuinely doing something to entertain you, not just, again, it's the difference between the whole YouTube vibe and the Twitch vibe. There are a lot of people out there, and we've heard the discussions, we've heard the arguments about different people who people think are just, being fake and phony and stuff like that. It's very hard to be disingenuous, in my opinion, on Twitch. It doesn't last long. Certain schemes and tricks that you would do on YouTube don't really work. It gets exposed quick, and you can tank yourself easily. And it can be stressful because if you're somebody who's found out to be doing something fucked up, again, remember, you're live, you're exposed, you're out there. So people will come at you and they will attack you, and you can't hide. You can't do a video talking about how, oh, you're just haters and all that. No, they see the look on your face right now. They know that
there's so many things that you can just. I feel like the people that like people on Twitch, you get to like see like people when a lot of times they're comfortable. You don't just get the person, you get a lot of comfortable, like when they're not, when the cameras, even if the cameras might not be on. I think there's an entire different conversation there that you could have about that not necessarily being a good thing. But God, is it so different? I can't just sit up here personally and say like, nah, fuck that. Like, this is, oh, well, fuck you, you're an asshole. I have to like, even if it's a situation I don't like, which comes up, I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't, because it's not a perfect world. It's not a perfect world where everything. I had a person that came in my chat yesterday that was named I Hate, and it starts with an N and ends with an ER. and they spelt it creatively to get around the like normal banning system. And I could have just fuck you, this, that, the other, but even still, I tried my best to be a little bit civil. I would just be like, look, and because I don't want to assume anything about somebody. So I'm like, look, I get that you may have been a troll at one point, but I'm gonna ask you, really change your name. Their name changes on Twitch now. You can change your name and you'll be fine. Go ahead and do that. And like the guy kept being like, and he would like to be like, no, this is my father's account. And eventually it got to the point where I was like, all right, go ahead and ban him. But the thing that people could see is that I gave it a try, or that I put in the effort to. I'm not trying to just be, well, fuck you then. It's this idea of you have to be, people will see if you care enough to do that. And some people are perfectly fine with you saying, no, fuck that dude. You can go suck a dick. Yeah. And it's about like you as a person and kind of figuring that piece out.
Yeah,
figuring that piece out.
Yeah, I think that pretty much just about covers everything.
Like we said, now we always an hour.
Of course, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit us up.
I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, and again, this video is not going to just be on this channel. I'm going to share it on my personal channel, The Black Vegas. Euro, if you want to share it on your channel, on your Twitch, as an upload.
Oh, that's definitely a great idea.
Things like that, Patreons, whatever. Whatever avenues I have, I'm gonna post this because I think the people definitely would like to hear conversations about this and get an idea of what it's about, because there are going to be people who are going to do a lot of things that are just going to be about the excitement of this or about how much they hate it. I think people need more than just a reaction video. I think people need to actually hear and understand what is going on, what the benefits are, what the negatives are, how Twitch works and things like that, because a lot of times people get into these things and they have bad experiences because they don't have any understanding, and there's no one around to try to help. And me and Euro, we like to help as many people as possible. So hopefully this video will be helpful to you guys. That being said, make sure to check out Eurostrix every night from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as he and his chat goes down the long road of lewdness and craziness, as they also pretty much troll the hell out of him as he dies repeatedly in certain games such as Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Battlegrounds.
More recently, yes, Battlegrounds.
Yes, Battlegrounds has been the hotness on his channel. Check that out. And of course, he has his own podcast on there, SSJ Lounge. Check that out. His in real life videos, all of that. Very entertaining gentleman.
We just try to have fun and do whatever.
Yeah, so definitely check that out if you want to further get some understanding of Twitch. And he will answer questions in his chat, so feel free to have those discussions with him there too. That is pretty much it. Thank you, sir, for joining me on this discussion.
It's always
appreciate it. And we're going to try to do more of these discussions, and we've got to bring in other people too.
Definitely
on these when we can, to talk about these topics. But thank you.
I would always love to get another perspective.
Yeah, definitely. Modem, if you hear this, you need to give me your schedule. Damn it. Been too long since you've been on the podcast or anything. I have to figure that out. Anyway, thank you again. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time on WiseGuys Discuss, everybody. Later.